All right. Thank you very much for keeping it with us here on Morning at NTV. It's time for the Kickstarter, where we shall be looking at the tourism industry or sector in 2024. There's a lot that is going on. Of course, it's one of the sectors that are still emerging from the after effects of the COVID-19 pandemic that drastically changed the landscape for travel across the world. Whether some players were able to quickly reimagine things and then transform their product portfolio in order to ensure that travelers and tourists, for that matter, continue to come into the country remains to be seen. Many of the sector players who are looking at the value chain and the introduction of those particular things that form brand Uganda are here with us, and we shall be talking to them very, very shortly. But our preamble stands on the fact that tourism is expected to contribute $11.1 trillion to the global GDP this year alone. That's a staggering figure, $11.1 trillion. According to the latest World Tourism Barometer by UN Tourism, around 790 million tourists traveled internationally in the first 7 months of this year, about 11% more than last year and only 4% less than 2019 before COVID-19 struck. Data also shows a strong start to the year, followed by a more modest second quarter. Uganda has the potential to position itself as a high-value destination that offers exceptional wildlife, adventure, as well as cultural experiences that match or exceed those of its neighbours. Government is also promoting domestic tourism through various initiatives to encourage locals to explore and experience the beauty of Uganda. I do hope you have taken time to travel across the country, the various national parks, and experience firsthand some of the lovely wildlife, including the iconic tree climbing lions in Queen Elizabeth National Park. That is just a snippet. But how the players see things is quite different, because for them it's both tourism, experiences, but also business. And that is where we want to point the flashlight at. I'm joined in studio by Ben Ntale. He's the team leader at the tour company Ape Treks Limited. Later on, we shall be joined by Herbert Byaruhanga, the president of the Uganda Tourism Association, for what is no doubt an overview of the industry. Mr. Ben Ntale, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty well.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
That speaks of the industry itself.
Absolutely.
Okay. Before we go into anything that has caught the eye of anybody out there, what do you see Uganda's tourism picture? What is the brand like?
Well, Uganda's tourism is a pretty broad brand, if you can ask me.
Okay. Because
we have a bit of everything in this country. We have the landscapes, we have the physical features, we have a diversity of wildlife, we have the people, we have a melting pot of cultures, we have lively nightlife. So basically everything here is right and ripe for tourism. All we need is to make sure that we package it right, promote it right, place it right, and make sure that we attract the numbers, and especially those that are well-paying, and we get the revenue here.
That's right.
And above all, we must operate sustainably. In this respect, we need to manage the environment well.
That's right.
We need to make sure we make the money as we manage the environment. I need to make sure that the people the societies within which we operate benefit from it and feel the impact positively of the tourism industry.
Okay.
What I can tell you, if we do the right thing, we are ripe for big business in tourism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interestingly, when you say when we do the right things, I'm constrained and I want to ask, what and why aren't we doing the right things so far?
Well, there are several attempts that have been made by government and the private sector. So many promotions, so many strategies have been put in place. But we are living in a pretty dynamic world, the tourism industry is pretty dynamic that every time you have to be switching strategies, every time you must be studying the market, every time you must be going out there and understanding what we call market intelligence and knowing what the traveler out there wants, what they need. And it also varies because a traveler from Southwest Pacific does not demand the same thing like a traveler from North America. A traveler from Eastern Europe may be asking for something different from a traveler from Western Europe. Okay. So it's very important if you're to attract the entire global population to Uganda to have a broad view, a broad strategy that is all-encompassing and is able to attract each and everybody to this country. Okay. And then the people who actually have the money, that when they come here, they spend, and then we get to have the economy running and everybody earning. That's right. Yes. Oh, that's quite interesting and a very positive outlook, no doubt. I like the fact that you have to look at how you lure in this diverse market. Of course, like you said, the one that is traveling all the way from United States is not quite looking for the same things that somebody who is traveling from the Far East is. But allow me, welcome to the program, Jean Byaruhanga. Byamugisha. Yes. My apologies for that. There has been a bit of... but I think that's right. You're the president of the Uganda Tourism Association? CEO. The president is Susan Mwezi. There's a lot that is going on. Yes, please don't get me fired in 2 seconds of this interview. On behalf of the CEO, I would like to apologize to the president. Yes, no doubt. Thank you. You're most welcome to the program. Thank you so much. 2024 is looking very, very good for the tourism sector. And of course, this comes on the backdrop of what has been a fledgling economy, especially as conditioned by the after effects of COVID-19. You have stood the test of time as an industry, and that is quite commendable. What do you attribute that to? First of all, we are very proud that we withstood the COVID pandemic and after effects. Tourism was one of the hardest hit, and this is not just for Uganda, but worldwide. All the industries closed. But for us, it was even more painful because if you remember, we had one of the longest lockdowns in the world. I think we were in lockdown for about 2 years. Yeah. And so that really had a bigger impact on our tourism industry. While the rest of the countries were in recovery, for us, we were still under lockdown. The positive side is we were also one of the countries that handled the COVID pandemic the best in the world. We had the least amount of deaths, and really our president got a lot of credit for his hard stance on COVID-19 and the way it was addressed. And after that, there were very many projections which were written about how 2019 had been one of the best years at that point yet in tourism, and there had been predictions that recovery would only be 2019 levels would only be reached in 2025. One of the things that we are most proud of is if you look at the numbers right now in terms of even tourist arrivals, in terms of the economic development, in terms of the spend in tourism, we've been able to actually beat those predictions. We have managed to be able to recover in 2024. 2024 has so far been the best year yet. Challenges notwithstanding, we've seen the arrival statistics from CAA showing that this has been one of the best years yet. We are seeing, and again, statistics are felt, you know, you can see statistics. Okay. Yeah, you know, if somebody says there are 100 billionaires in Uganda, you'll be able to see if there are actually 100 billionaires if the person is right. So the statistics are felt. We've seen the numbers in the national parks. We've seen the numbers in the hotels. We've seen the events that are happening in the hotels. We started off the year with a bang with the G77 summit, and the trend has continued to grow. We are excited about the prospects. We are now, everything we are doing is getting ready for AFCON 2027, building hotels, refurbishing hotels, getting ready. So really, as an industry, it's one of the fastest growing. It has recovered, and it is one that is really pushing the economy in Uganda right now. Oh, no doubt. Very good. And it offers some positivity to economic transformation. Many times when figures come in from other sectors, there is a bit of grim reading. I'm glad that... now, let's focus on 2024. Yes. Because I needed that background for those that might not be initiated in the
what is and how the industry is run, or what the business is, might not understand. I know they have an idea. But 2024 particularly, what has it offered that is different from 2023? Has there been, that should not be the question, what has occasioned the fundamental shift in you know, that kind of progress for the sector as a whole, but also later Mr. Ntale will speak to us as a key player, as a stakeholder. Quickly.
First of all, 2024 has been the year of MICE. And MICE, I mean meetings, incentives, conferences, and events. Right. We started off the year with a bang with the G77. We've kept the momentum. We are already seeing many other events which are booked for next year. And so that set the pace, a very fast pace for us. We really hit the ground running in 2024. Okay. 2024 has also seen the implementation of AI in hotels. I've been telling kids at Makerere University that really, with the way the world is going, they need to future-proof their careers. Because the first question I remember my father asked me at the beginning of the year, and asked many of us, was, how have you future-proofed your career? What are you doing that cannot be done by a robot in the next few years? And if you realize that the work that you're doing, you can be replaced by a machine, it's time for you to start innovating, unlearning, and relearning how to be able to do your job, because you're going to be out of a job very soon. We've seen a lot more hotels getting onto the AI trends, the way they are doing the check-ins, the way they are interacting with guests on social media, etc. That has also been a very huge trend for us. The third biggest one has been sustainability. It's not something that we've been talking about. It's not a concept we've been hearing about. It's now a concept that we've been implementing in all of our hotels. We are looking at where, again, COVID-19 flattened the curve for us, so we were building from the ground up going. And there are many lessons we learned after COVID-19. For instance, it caught us completely unawares. Many people closed down. We had no contingency. There was no insurance that covered an act of God like COVID-19. And so it is the same thing with issues like sustainability. Everybody in the world, when you go to all these markets, all our source markets, if you're not talking about sustainability, you are not going to be able to attract clients. So as hotels, we are doing our bit. If you will notice now, when you go for a meeting in many of these hotels, we are trying to phase out the plastic water bottles. We are encouraging more hotels to serve water in jugs. We are encouraging more guests to come with their own water bottles and fill at different filling stations. If you go to the lodges up country, we are working closer now with the local communities. We are recycling a lot more. If, for instance, you'll enter the hotels now, you'll find that we are phasing out these little soaps that you use on every shower. What happens? Because you use that little soap, you never finish it. You come back the next day, you find a new one. What happens to that?
What happened to the other
exactly. One? So we are trying to see how either
there's a lot of wastage.
There's a lot of wastage, and now we are trying to see how we can be more sustainable. So we are taking out the little soaps, we are putting the bigger soap dispensers, which, so you know, somebody can push so that there's no wastage. Even the equipment we are using, most of the equipment we are getting in the fridges, the TV, these are all energy efficient equipment. Even the taps, you know, even the flushing of the toilets, we are phasing out the old school flushing and now using the more energy efficient. So that's what has been
water conserving.
Exactly. Now everything that we are doing, it's with a conscious bias to sustainability.
Wow, that's commendable interventions, no doubt. Mr. Ben Ntale, you are a tour company honcho. And I'm sure what she says is pretty much the things that you are rolling out. But I'm interested in the cost imperative. Has that drastically helped you reduce costs as you adopt ESG strategies? ESG, of course, that is the sustainability angle.
Well, sustainability, one, it's a concept that we all must understand in its full sense. And it's a transition stage. We are transitioning from the way of doing business that we've known, that is maybe wasteful and causing more damage on the environment, to new ways of reducing the carbon print and basically mitigating the damage in our operations on the environment. And the transition comes at a cost. One, understanding what sustainability is requires training, requires specialists who can come and give us information and impart knowledge of what it is, because somehow it is still something not very understood. Yeah, when we talk about sustainability, and then we all appreciate that change is not something that is so much adaptable. Some of us are rigid and we still keep doing things that we've been doing. So it comes at a cost, because the things she's been talking about, that means you changing your decor, the equipment you use, you changing the way you do your business, you changing, having the right people placed in places to implement sustainability and all those kind of things. I am part of the Exclusive Sustainable Tour Operators Association, ESTOA, and our members focus. Say that again? Exclusive Sustainable Tour Operators Association. Wow. And we started this association because we wanted to push the sustainability agenda and to make sure that all of us operate sustainably. For tour operators and other Ugandans who go out there to attend these travel markets, the forefront of what people are asking for is, you are operating, but are you operating sustainably? Where you work from, is the environment taken care of? Are you minding the way you use water, the way you dispose of garbage? Are you mindful of which sort of energy you use? Is it renewable energy? Are you mindful of the society where you operate and all those kind of things? So it takes a lot of study, transition, adaptability, and those kinds of things. And that's what we are pushing with our members and all the tour operators fraternities in this country. And it's the demand that out there people are asking for. Hey, you want us to give you business, but how do you operate?
That is important.
How do you treat your staff? How do you treat the society where you operate? Are you taking all the water and putting it in your pool and people don't have the water? Are you creating kind of noise that makes everybody uncomfortable? So it's a transition and it comes at a cost.
All right, Jim and Ben, allow us welcome on board Mr. Herbert Byaruhanga, President of the Uganda Tourism Association. My apologies again. Earlier, there was a bit of a mix-up, and I had the names flying through my head. And you can understand. But you're most welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
How are you doing?
Good, good.
You're looking good in what is no doubt one of the very iconic exports that Uganda has, the fine fabric and the shirts. Very, very boo-boo.
Thank you. But I'm no longer the president. I'm the president emeritus. We changed the elections in. Now this is interesting. I am still, of course, holding a lot of positions here and there.
Tell me about the positions you're now holding.
I'm holding, I'm the board member of the Association of Uganda Tour Operators. I'm a board member of the Safari Guide Association. I'm the papa of bird watching in the country. So many things.
Interesting there. We are honored.
I run a business.
We are honored that you are with us here this morning, because we are going to get a very rich perspective in as far as tourism is concerned. That's about your view of tourism sector is 2024.
It's been a recovery process, and we were hit hard. The Uganda tourism business was hit hard by COVID, and we did not have, of course we were not prepared, but also much as the government tried to work hard with the private sector to put things in place, tourism is international. The local one has to go slowly with its own dynamics. With its own culture, with our own way of doing things. So it's taken us some time to position ourselves. We are still actually in a recovery mode. I think we will be fully recovered by probably end of 2025, entering 2026. Because many companies closed, many people lost jobs, but there's been effort, like a colleague was talking about, of people coming in with new approaches, looking at how we are going to deal with tourism now, looking at the global trends.
That's right.
How do we work with other people? Because we still get tourists from abroad, from other countries like Europe.
Right.
So the issue of they're talking about like sustainability is really taking the stage, and the people are looking at how do we sustainably move, other than even what he's talking about, like looking at the use of water, use of how do we maintain our own savings? Do we have money to run business?
That's right.
If it comes again like this, what do we do? What are those shocks that we are putting in place? So I've seen the government pronouncing itself, encouraging people to start circles, trying to create some of these cooperatives to help them in case of other problems like the COVID came in. How do they sustain themselves? It has been a real learning curve for tourism business, 2024. And I think if we put our heads together to scan through what we have gone through now, we should be able to prepare ourselves for 2025 and 2026. Because many people are planning to visit us 2026. In other words, we also have to put in more energy in being visible. The country must be visible in the major source markets where we get tourists who give us some good money, who can sleep in our lodges, because you know there is a lot of heavy investment.
Yeah.
Like the hotel sector, they invest heavily in the hotel sector.
That's right.
And those facilities you see, there's a lot of money. And we need people who can stay there. But they're not going to be Ugandans, they're not going to be Kenyans. We're going to get people from bigger economies who are going to come and sustain the businesses. So we must position ourselves in those source markets heavily. We must be there as a country to make sure that we are seen, we are visible, and our services are appreciated. Like now, if we want to position ourselves, the issue of sustainability has to be there. Everybody's because I've just come from the other side of the continent, in the US and Canada. It is coming out strongly. They ask about the lodges. How do they manage sustainability issue in their hotels, in their resorts? I've had a chance of interacting with very many people who have resorts. It is very, very big. So Uganda must position itself in that area. The hotel sector must. The tour operators must position themselves. They must have the word clear. They must be able to convince that wherever we stay, our hotels, our guides, our staff, they understand what we call sustainability.
All right. Thank you very much for that. We are, of course, heading into the top of the hour. We're going for a break. When we return, lady and gentlemen, we'll be talking a little bit deeper about what strategies are in place to ensure that you meet this critical need for the new breed or new influx of tourists who will be coming in. He spoke about 2026 and what is expected. I hope all those strategies are being rolled out. When we return, this conversation will continue. And for everyone out there who wants to know what's happening in the world of tourism, but you must be also an actor because you are an individual very, very pivotal to tourism and brand Uganda. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. I'm glad you're still watching, and it's the Kickstarter here on MorningAtNTV. We are looking at the tourism sector in the year 2024, assessing what the value chain is and how brand Uganda is inching forward in terms of scoring dividends in attracting the global tourists that are no doubt willing to spend some money and are desperate for new and exciting experiences. In the studio, I have with me Herbert Byaruhanga, is the President Emeritus of the Uganda Tourism Association. I also have with me Jean Byamugisha. She's the CEO at the Hotel Owners Association, as well as Ben Ntale with Ape Trek Limited. Let me begin this particular session by riding a wave, and let me begin with Ben Ntale. There are people who are looking at the tourism sector from the point of view of employment, human resource, and human capital. The quality of the workforce that we have in the industry pretty much determines some of the dividends that we score. For example, it's enough to know about sustainability, but when the hospitality aspect is not overriding over that, people might not really appreciate the fact that your staff. I do not know whether there is a strategy on how recruitment is done, who you recruit for the guides and operators and tenants in hotels and lodges, and the whole spectrum of the human resource or human capital dividend. Do you take us through that, and whether there's any particular thing that ought to be done in order to quickly help the country beat some of our targets in as far as tourism is concerned?
Thank you very much. I'll start by saying training and training, training and training, training all through. It never stops.
It never stops, yes.
So the most important thing is as students go through formation, hospitality formation in institutions, in colleges and universities, the most important thing is for the trainers to understand what they are preparing their students for, and to understand they're dealing with a very dynamic industry that is extremely demanding, and with a diversity of clientele that ask for different things. So what are we looking for when it comes to human resource? We are looking for people who are, one, open-minded to learning, people who are open-minded to facing different challenges and dealing with them professionally, and people who are able to speak different languages, people who are able to be in a position to handle clients professionally. Yeah, I mean, professional is just a broad thing, but understanding who we are dealing with as a customer, that is not a local person or he's not from our locality, and we need to give them the right impressions that they need to enjoy their trips here, and also to manage expectations from these clients. So it takes a lot of training from various aspects, right from how we speak, communication, right from how we conduct ourselves before them, the professional etiquettes around it, and how we have these other skills like timekeeping, skills like being able to look at a situation and make an assessment and make the right judgment.
Quick thinking.
Yeah, quick thinking and all those kind of, because there will always be challenges, there will always be problems, but how do you respond? Now, those are the kinds of people this industry needs, and it begins from training right from institutions, and then it comes to the workplaces where we keep training and training and training and training every now and then. Colleagues here will attest to it that when a client walks in, the impressions they get is the very first person they meet. How that person receives them, greets them, takes care of them, will impact their entire view or feeling of their stay in this country. If it starts off badly, then it will most likely impact the whole experience in this country. There are people who say, I enjoyed my trip to Uganda because I met so-and-so and he was the best person who took care of me and took care of my every need, that kind of thing. So as we're looking for who to fill these positions within the tourism industry, it's a very, very broad, the value chain is really broad. So at every stage, tourism offers somebody a job.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Madam CEO, when you look at the availability of talent, let me use the word talent because in my industry, the people who do the job are called talent, but the human resource structure right now that allows for hotels and all these other tourism institutions and companies be able to, get the very best possible people to work with. I don't know whether it's a deliberate one right now that you are looking at a specific institution as a training, a center for training, or you're taking on people who are smiley, because at the end of the day, if somebody has a good attitude, pulls off some good vibes, these people are easy to work with. I don't know how it's being done, or is it a mix of everything?
People always ask me, what is it that you love about your industry the most? And for me, I keep telling them, it's the dynamic nature of the industry.
Okay.
The fact that it's always changing. This is an industry where you don't get bored. And most importantly, this is an industry where what worked 2 years ago can be completely obsolete in less than even 6 months, And the biggest change for us has been the way we recruit. Like you rightly said, the industry is changing, the industry is growing, and the needs are changing. When somebody comes to me, for instance, in my office and looking for a job, the last thing I look at is their CV. Mainly because, number one, it either undersells this person. You look at this person's CV if you didn't know the person, and the grades are poor, everything is poor, and you'll just write off this person. But when you speak to them, you really, like you said, the smile, the way they carry themselves, the way they talk, you really feel this is the person I'm looking for. Or it oversells somebody. Somebody will come with master's, PhD, first class, etc. You speak to this person, and in 2 seconds, you even wonder how they got these qualifications. So now the way we recruit has completely changed. It's not when somebody comes in for an interview, the interview starts right at the door. It's the way you dressed, it's the way you look, it's the way your fingernails are, it's the way you carry yourself. The time we were recruiting, I think the biggest recruitment we did was for Latitude Hotel when it was opening up a couple of years ago, and we had over 2,000 people apply, and we needed to cut them down. What we did was we would bring in 10 people in a room, and as panelists we would start talking amongst each other. Okay. Because that was part of the interview. The ones who are bored, the ones who are rolling their eyes. So you say number 2, number 5, number, okay, thank you so much for your time. Please excuse us, we want to speak to them, because they failed to understand that that was the interview. That's how we are doing recruitment. For us as Uganda Hotel Owners right now, we are championing the issue of apprenticeship. It's a different way, it's a unique way of doing training in the hotel industry. People have been complaining, and rightfully so, about human resource in our hotels. People complain. You know, you have all these big 5-star hotels coming up, and they are recruiting a lot of expatriate manpower. Because we also have to remember, hotels, it's business first. These are put up by businessmen with loans. They need to make a return on investment pronto. So they are not going to hire somebody who is going to continue breaking. They need an expert. The experts are expatriates.
You're dishonest.
Exactly.
Now, our
academic system has not really been favoring the industry, because it has been more theory, while our industry is more practical. You find many hoteliers would rather employ somebody with a diploma or a certificate because they have 1 or 2 years hands-on experience over somebody with a degree who has 3 years theory and 2 months at best internship. Even the internship, this person wants to sit behind a hotel, or they are sent to buy Rolex, etc. for the managers. What apprenticeship does is that it trains these young people for a full year. We are putting young people in the hotels to work for a full year. And from the first cohort, we piloted this program in Uganda. In the first cohort, we got 70% retention rate. Out of the 100 apprentices we had, 70% were actually retained in employment in the hotels which they did. We last week graduated 191 at UHTTI. 75% of those already have contracts with the hotels, because after working with the hotel for 1 year, you're part of their system, you're part of their family, they cannot let you go. We are now planning to recruit the 3rd cohort, and we already have hotels which are coming on board. But what's also very interesting is Uganda is home to 1.7 million refugees. And the majority of these are professionals who left their countries under unfortunate events. And for us, unlike other countries, they live in settlements, so they are part of our ecosystem. They work with us, they trade with us, they go to school with us. But there had never been any programs that were guiding them into formal employment. It was always informal employment, so tailoring, braiding of hair, etc. So we piloted having refugees come to work in the hotels, and the results have been short of amazing. Wow. There was a stigma about refugees, there was a stigma about these people, our people, etc. They have come and they have exceeded all of our expectations. So even that kind of dynamic nature in the industry, where for us as a hotelier, you are a global citizen, you are a global worker. You know, you can come from one country and come to this country and be able to work. It is really driving and pushing young people to either work better, work faster, become more relevant, or also offering unique opportunities. This was unheard of 2 years ago. We had a stigma for refugees. We know they were those people, but now they are part of us.
Yeah, interesting there. Mr. President Emeritus, 536,600 jobs in 2009. That is what the tourism sector accounted for. And that was 5.8 total. Those are percentages. And then 1 or 2 years after, there was a drop to 321,960, of course, occasioned by the pandemic. There must have been growth after these years that the pandemic is now behind us. I don't know whether there is deliberate effort between the sector players and the government, especially in light of what you say, that is UHTTI?
Yes, UHTTI.
That is the institute
yes.
that is training tourism workers or operators. I don't know how it is from your point of view, but it should be something that is positive, and I'm sure many Ugandans out there who are looking for jobs should be going into the sector and taking them up.
Yeah, you know, the thing is that the tourism services is primarily driven by, is guided by passion. And then driven by knowledge, product knowledge.
Okay.
You have the passion, and once you get the product knowledge, you will not make mistakes. But all these are supposed to operate in an environment that has systems. Our CEO has talked about apprenticeship.
Yeah.
This part of the system I'm talking about, this is a system that manages the skilling system in the country. How do you move from one place to another? There should be a very clear understanding between academic and professional development. That I can be an engineer, but I choose, after getting my degree in engineering, even a master's,
That's right.
now I choose to become a tourist guide. My passion is in butterflies. I want to go for that. If someone chooses his brain and he reads about the butterflies, he trains on how to deal with people who are dealing with butterflies, and it becomes a job on his own and drops the other one.
Yes.
We have, in our association of the guides, Uganda Safari Guide Association, we have trained even lawyers. We have lawyers who are guides. We have doctors who are guides who have decided to leave because they discover their passion is in the other side of travel. Yeah. So once you have these systems in place, the numbers will definitely grow. Now, what has been happening at the moment, like she has just mentioned, there's a lot of effort now to make sure our people are well trained, assessed, and licensed according to the law. We have managed to have more than 900 guides now, assessed and licensed by Uganda Tourism Board. We worked with government, we worked with NABER and DIT to make sure they get the required assessments. Because if we don't do that, we cannot position ourselves in the global market.
That's right. Because
the insurance companies cannot pay for the insurance of the services of our guides, even hoteliers. In fact, it's now going into, if we, I've seen that the ministry is going to put in more effort to have more people who are going to be in the quality assurance system, so that we have enough people who can assess all the occupations. Because we have over 200 occupations in the country, in the tourism sector, tourism and hospitality together. These occupations create jobs. You may if you have 200 occupations, and you imagine if you have 100,000 employees in every occupation, you are going to have quality staff who actually even pay taxes, who are on the job grid of the country. You are able to quantify and qualify which people work in the industry. So we, much as we look at the global demand of the tourists' activities that are needed, for example, she mentioned something like the industry is dynamic. Today we have people who climb trees, and those people who climb trees require guides. They require hotels.
Tourists come and
yes, they do that. They jump on trees, they climb on trees. When ziplining was coming in, we're like, what is this now? But now ziplining is just normal.
That is right.
Forest canopy walk.
Those disruptions have now become.
It is just there now. People do it. There's so many things. Every other day, something new comes up, and people do it. Now, in nature world, we are now moving into, I've just been seeing in South America, people are going for serious butterfly watching. They are doing reptiles. They are doing amphibians. They are doing, people go in trips and stay there for a long time. They spend money in it. So we need to train people there, have lodges. In Colombia, in Ecuador, what I saw, they even have lodges which are on the network of the hot spots for the birds and butterflies. So lodges are now working hard to make sure that wherever they are positioned, they use that to attract specific tourists, because they are going to stay for longer days. It's not one night. They are going to stay for, because you have got this number of things they can do, they can see, they are going to stay longer. It's no longer the other time of having swimming pools now. No, people are changing now, the demands are changing. Right. So that's why we must have systems in East Africa working together. Now, the Uganda Safari Guide Association, for example, is working with now Kenyans and Tanzanians. They are setting up a system through ESC cooperation that every person that is going to get certain amount of money is going to be paid so much money is at this level. So we have different levels. In Uganda, we have level 1, 2, and 3, which have been appreciated already by the government and even Ministry of Education. And now people who are in those levels will be earning different monies. And that is an assurance of getting quality business people. Because if I've been in the business for 10, 15 years and I'm at level 3, I have potential of running my own company.
That is right.
And therefore I should be absorbed. I should also invest in that in that business. They can even invest in hotels. We have one of our girls who are guides. One of them has 2 lodges in a very short time because of what they've been doing. So the numbers are going to grow if we quickly make sure that everybody we have is in a system. We have a grid where everybody's, like she's giving very good figures. Yeah?
Right.
Because now we know that in hotels, the people who are working there now have been trained practically. They are trained practically and they have the required skills.
It is no longer about...
no, about my cousin, my brother, no. It must be, you must be trained and you are assessed and you even licensed to do that job. You can imagine even how many jobs you could create if you assessed people who are gardeners in this country. Gardeners. A lot of people think gardening is just a simple job. No, people have to be trained. And if you go to the hotel sector and you join the hotel sector as a gardener, you can grow professionally. You become a waiter tomorrow, the other day you become a barman, another day you become the manager, 20 years later you're the general manager. You understand the whole system.
That is right.
That's where we are supposed to be going now. And I'm sure this is where we are going as a sector, because if I assess in the last 20 years, we are going that lane now. We used to have a lot of people from Kenya speeding over here. But I can tell you, it is now the other side. Okay. We were in Mombasa recently. They told us that if we train a Ugandan manager, a Ugandan hotel person to becoming a manager, they are the best. Discipline is on the top. We are well disciplined. Yes, Ugandans are very well disciplined. Okay. They are not in the hotel to steal money. They are in the hotel to offer a service, which makes me proud. That the thing we've been talking about for over years, that Ugandans are more hospitable, it is actually true. The Ugandan people are hospitable when they are trained properly. They are very good guides. I mean, very good workers. Even the guiding systems here, right. Uganda still is in the lead. People who have been to all these countries, they tell you, Ugandans, they speak nice English, but also they are humble. Okay. They are very disciplined. They are doing a good job. Oh. So the numbers are going to grow, I can assure you. I'm sure by 2027, if we really continue doing these systems, strengthening them very well, we should be able to go beyond 1 million workers.
No doubt. That's a very, very positive trend that we are on. Allow me ask Ben Ntale something that is related to what he said. When you spoke about butterflies and the fact that there are some people who are actually being trained to be butterfly carers.
Even reptiles.
Reptiles?
Yes, we have tours for reptiles. We even have companies which are now selling the reptiles.
Take us through product construction, for example. If you are setting up a lodge or a facility, and here you are, you notice that the specific trend and some tourists want to watch the butterflies, can you set up like a sanctuary? Is there a law that allows for you as a stakeholder to set up a sanctuary that could morph into a natural, I don't know even how to describe it. For example, if you create a botanical garden, what happens at a certain point when the ecosystem there becomes so huge that you require maybe intervention of government? Is there a framework to guide that kind of product construction?
Well, I don't think I have the right answer to your question, but I will say that our creativity is only limited by our imagination, if I can put it that way. The tourism industry is about creativity. You coming up with something new, with a new concept, with a new philosophy of building your product. Now, as regards hospitality and the new products that keep coming up, when you are putting up a facility, one, you need to have your own unique concept. What am I going to sell to people out there that is different from these other suppliers or operators around me? Right. It's also very important to benchmark. You go to various suppliers or lodge owners or operators, hotel chains in the region or even internationally, and you get to figure out what they are doing. From that, you are able to create something new for yourself. Now, as regards creating some kind of a sanctuary, depends on which location you pick for your lodge. Some people pick locations that have very good vantage points or a very good panoramic view, that when I'm here I can see a wide area.
That's right.
And I can have a very nice view, a very nice sunset, all those kind of things. And then also studying the environment, I'm also working hand in hand with, let's say, Uganda Wildlife Authority or NEMA. You understand which sort of kind of vegetation you can put there that is allowed, yeah, that is non-detrimental, because you can bring things and then they become a problem, like they become invasive species in that respect.
That's right.
So I think it's important to, in most cases, leave the place as is, naturally, yeah? Or maybe if it had those kind of plants before and they were degraded, then you bring them back, yeah? Because they were naturally there, then you attract organic or natural species to come around, like butterflies, like lizards. He's been talking about the harping safaris. Those are people who say those little things, the lizards, the cockroaches, the frogs, the whatever, those kind of things.
Cockroaches?
Yeah.
Somebody comes to watch cockroaches.
Yes. You see,
does that make households that are infested tourism spots?
No, there are different species of those butterflies.
There are different species, and he will tell you somewhere in South America, you know these flies that light at night. There is a lodge that is specifically built for people to come at night and watch them.
These flies.
So it goes back to my first statement that in tourism you are only limited by your imagination. But once you have the right thinking, you come up with all.
But the law is clear. Just to add on what you said, the law is clear. You can invest. Yes, they allow it.
For example, if I notice that there is a certain set of tourists who want to watch crocodiles, and I can put up a crocodile farm.
Yes, they give a license. The law is clear on that one. Yes. Okay. The environment is clear now. Previously it was a bit difficult, but then because we did a lot of talk and the ministry worked through it and they allowed it. You can have a license.
All right.
Yes, because we looked at even now the people in South America, they are beating us in terms of a lot of traffic from Asia going to South America to watch birds, do things just around the lodges.
That is right.
It is also allowed here. You can have your feeders, put them out there, and then have people come there.
All right. We are at the bottom of the hour of 8 o'clock. I'm going to have to go for a break. When we return, we shall wrap it up. But most importantly, talk about something that crossed my mind earlier, and somehow my train of thought has been impacted by the crocodile and the fact that somebody can, when it does return, no doubt, I'll be able to share it with you as we wrap up this conversation. You're watching MorningAtNTV. It's the Kickstarter segment, and we are looking at the tourism sector 2024 and how everything is panning out. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Interesting conversation behind the scenes here, and I'm going to bring it on air so that you can also share with me two things, and Ben Ntale will be helping me on this. Now, have you encountered an anthill within the vicinity of your compound or in the gardens as you're going about? There are people who are paying top dollar just to come and see how an anthill ecosystem is. The fact that there's a queen who sits somewhere and she's given all this pampering by these other guys. Interesting. Ben Ntale, that is the imagination we are talking about. Yeah. The fact that we should not limit ourselves in product construction. Right. 3 minutes. Talk about that, and of course also any other aspect that within your realm as a stakeholder may be of importance.
Well, I'll begin by saying that everything we take normal, usual, common is absolutely unique and special to somebody who comes here, because we live in different time zones, different climatic conditions, so we have different, and being at the equator, which is the center of life, or like axis for life, so we have much more things here that people don't have out there. Now, the analogy or the understanding of an anthill, when somebody looks at it, it's some kind of special architectural design by some very little insects which work as a team, and they put up this strong thing. And the social setup of the anthill, of the termites, of the queen, and all those kind of things. So you find very many people who are interested in knowing how did that thing come up. And depending on the species of the termites, you find that it has different types of the way the anthill is structured are totally different. I have a collection of those pictures because the people who are really, really interested in them. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier, that in tourism, it boils down to your level of imagination. And of course, in Uganda or in Africa or being at the equator, we have everything that there is.
Sometimes we take things for granted.
We take so many things for granted. And I will tell you that once we have the right trails and the right product development that keeps addressing the dynamics of the industry, we study these people and we understand what they really need, and then we get more and more creative. It's that creativity that will set us apart. I will tell you
very quickly.
I will tell you that people from Kenya and Tanzania say to us, the day Uganda will wake up and do the right thing is the day that will lose business for us. And in the 50s and 60s, up to maybe early 70s, we were top of the region as regards tourism. We beat everybody. And it's that position we need to reclaim by putting infrastructure right, making sure that our routes are well done, making sure that we have the best road network system, the bridges are working, and making sure that we clear these negative driver advisories in any way we can using better PR machinery. We can clear them and make sure people come here and feel comfortable with us.
No doubt about it.
Thank you.
Jen, pour some water on the government so it can wake up.
I think Herbert will agree with me as somebody who has just come back from abroad. The more you travel, the more you realize just how stunning, not just beautiful, but how stunning and out of this world Uganda really is.
That's right.
We have got the best weather. There are things that we can repeat and repeat. Best weather, best people, But on the other side, we also have a buffet of things that we can do. I always tell people, if you can make it in Uganda, you don't need to go abroad. You can live the American dream here, and you have got all these opportunities. We need to be more patriotic. I mean, in tourism, you can, like we've all been talking about this, it's just your imagination that curtails your ability to be able to do some of these things. We've just talked about lodges in South America, which are built for people to just come and look at glowworms. We pay to get the frog noises you hear when you go to some of these high-end lodges abroad, because they don't have authentic frogs. Exactly, because they are so relaxing at night. You know, when you leave
the
Serena,
ones we are complaining about in China.
Exactly. People are paying that and going into the studio and perfecting that noise just so that they can play it in high-end lodges. Something like you said, we have all that here at home. So for me, I want to make to appeal, especially to the government. Please review the tax regime in the hotel industry. This has been going viral this whole week about all the 25 different taxes that hotels are paying. Many more taxes which are paid by players in the industry, which makes us, number one, an expensive destination, but also very unattractive for this particular domestic investment. So if we can be able to review the tax regime, working with government, and we have more investment, it will create more employment, it will create, make the hotels a lot cheaper so that even domestic tourists can be able to enjoy. It will make us pay more taxes in terms of many more people, expand the tax base other than really humping on people who are already paying.
Mr. President, 120 seconds.
Yeah, to me is we have to be visible as a destination. The government must invest money in the visibility. We must be visible. Much as we do whatever we can, do hotels, to train people, have systems in place. If we are not visible in the right markets, the business will not grow. We need money. And money will come from the dollar, from the powerful currencies. The dollar, the pounds, the euros, they are there where they are. So that we're able to bring people here and bring in money. It is direct. Let me tell you, to what Gene is saying, it is an export. Tourism is an export. An export that is consumed at the point of production at home. So if you give somebody a tax waiver on an export, why not tourism? It is consumed at home. People don't even touch on it. I don't know why government doesn't sometimes think about it. Get in more billions, put in there, and let's be visible. They have already done some good work in the foreign affairs, in Mombasa and other people. I was in touch with some of the ambassadors in Europe and where. But let's put more money there. The results are instant. My last example is we brought people in 2006 to visit Uganda and to travel around. The following year, we paid $5,000 for someone to come here and tour. The following year, someone comes with 10 people, they are paying $7,000. Simple calculation. You don't have to go to school to do that. Just calculate like that. People are ready to go, but they need to know where to go. Can they be assured of security? Are things there? Can they sleep well? That's it. Money is just everywhere, but we're just sleeping somewhere.
Thank you very much, Herbert Byaruhanga, President Emeritus of the Uganda Tourism Association. Many thanks to you too. Jean Byamugisha, CEO at the Uganda Hotel Owners Association, as well as Ben Ntale from the Ape Trek Limited, a tour company. Your submissions and insights have emboldened my understanding of the industry, but most importantly, opened my eyes to business. No doubt, the frogs in charge, I'm coming for you. Let me go to my colleague, Stephen Mbide, who is standing by. There are issues in the border industry, and he has the very latest. Good morning, Stephen.
Stephen